field where are you working? FMC Jalingo. Consultant family physician. Here is the second time where God is healing my classmate. Congratulations. Happy to see you. You are still looking very young.
The Dr. Paul Enenche we are seeing now, who was he like in school?
He was the church kind of type, you understand?
Yes.
Always talking about fellowship. So little did I wonder that both himself and the wife committed themselves. Becky, his wife, was also my classmate. Understand? We were all in the same class. People tend to lean towards where they are calling. God has blessed Nigeria so much that we don't need to suffer. We don't need to steal. Was it Buhari's regime when he was in military? Always say there's something they call war against indiscipline. If you come, you must join the queue. Late Ambassador Mamman Daura, when he saw the draft I sent, he wrote me a recommendation letter that anytime I'm in Abuja, I should try and see him.
Hello everybody, you're welcome back to this channel, and in today's video I have a very special person first to me, and then for this very conversation that we are about to have is none other person than my own biological father, who has served Nigeria or the civil service sector as a medical doctor for about 30 years. And this conversation is basically going to be about what his experiences have been as a Christian. He has seen things, he understands things, he knows, the nooks and crannies or the loopholes and everything within the system. To a large extent, is someone that we can hear, we can listen to, and I feel like it's important to bring him in this conversation as a Christian, because I've lived with him, I've grown, around him, learned from him, been trained by him, and there's no other person that I should have this, or we should have this conversation with than him. I mean, I have easier access to him. So you're welcome, sir, to this conversation. And in today's video, small now. Don't mind me. So in today's video, you just tell us more about who you are, and then we'll take it off from there. So, who are you?
Thank you. My name is Dr. Ahmed Jatolo.
Okay.
I was born about 60 years ago.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's true.
You want to hear about my primary school background or what?
Yeah, you can give us just briefly, not long, but yeah.
Okay, I attended primary school in Kushi, in Shangon local government area of Gombe State.
Okay.
From 1973 to 1979. And then 1979 went to Government Secondary School Kaltungo.
Okay.
To H2, from where I passed the exam for the first set of science students to Government Science Secondary School, where I graduated in 1984.
Oh.
From there I proceeded to Federal School of Art and Science in Sokoto. 84 to 86, then came to University of, I started from Obakatafa University Bauchi before I got admission to study medicine at University of Jos.
Okay.
And I graduated in 1995, where I did my housemanship there. From there, I worked at the emergency department before I started postgraduate training in 2002 and finished in 2009.
Wow.
So that 2009, I relocated to Jalingo, my state capital.
Okay.
Where I've been working till my retirement just last month.
Awesome. So yeah, this is why we are having this video, because of the fact that he retired recently, and I just felt like it's important to hear the story and the experiences. So thank you for giving us that background. I know it already, so it's just for you to understand where he's coming from. So my question, I know some of it, and as we kept talking recently and all of that, I started learning newer things, started hearing things I probably haven't heard before, and all of that. So all those dates, I was just saying, yes, not like I really was taking note of them or something. So, but in these years you've mentioned so many, you travel here, you school here, and you school there, and all of that. At those points, were you a Christian? At what point in these places did you actually become a Christian?
Well, I grew up to see my dad taking me to church.
Okay.
Even when I don't know how to read, he give me the Hausa hymn book. We'll go there to church, we'll sing. Somehow, when I started school, when I started learning how to read and write, it became so easy for me one of my uncles, Isha, who taught me how to read Hausa.
Okay.
That time they call it Karatu Donkowa.
Okay.
You know, so Abada and all those things. So by the time I became more conversant with that, I even started teaching women fellowship how to sing. I can memorize a song and sing all through. Okay. So, well, I go to church, but I didn't know I was not a Christian until in secondary school, I think. Okay. 1984, before I graduated also, there was a conference, somebody was invited to come and speak with us. It was at that point that he said, your father can be a pastor, your mother can be the wife of an evangelist, so long as you have not pronounced with your mouth that Jesus is your Lord and Savior, you are not a Christian. Okay. So it dawned on me at that moment that I was actually a church goer, I was not a Christian. So it was at that point that I committed my life to Christ. And since then, I've been one face to the other. Awesome. In the university, we met one doctor consultant, Dr. Blessed Gojo, who discipled us in university. Okay. And taught us basic things of Christian life. Yeah. But the point at which I committed my life to Christ was in that secondary school, in that program. Amazing. Yes.
This is the first time I'm hearing this too. I've never asked.
You didn't bother to ask.
I know, but you know, it's interesting because your life already still preached to us and growing up and all of that, and it's interesting because it's still similar experiences that I had in giving my life to Christ, which was still in secondary school and all of that. I mean, a preacher came and preached and stuff like that. So thank you for sharing with me. First, of course, before the video goes out, I'm the one that interviewed you, that story, and then the world, you know, how you give your life to Christ. So the next question I would ask is, so you worked in different places. Now we're getting to the main conversation. Your first employment, how did you get it? What was the story and the experiences? You know, as a Christian, you know, we're talking from a Christian perspective. You know, any other person can have this conversation, but what would you share with us or whoever would watch this about that experience?
Well, we graduated, I think, on a Thursday. I can't remember exact date, but I think it was just 2 days in between our graduation and when we had our interview to start what is called internship or housemanship. That was July in 1995. Wow. We went for the interview, and I clearly remembered Professor C.S.S. Bello, then, who was the CMAC, that's Chairman Medical Advisory Committee of Jos University Teaching Hospital. He asked my name. I told him my name is Dr. Ahmed Jatau. I remember clearly he said, he thought the law is L-O-W. He said, today you will be Ahmed Jatau High, meaning I've been elevated. So at that point, I knew that I had gotten the slot for the internship. So that was how we started, 11th of July 1995. Okay. And I went through different rotations, surgery, obstetrics and gynecology, pediatrics, and internal medicine. Awesome. Which is like 1 year internship. But because I graduated at the nick of 30, I was exempted from National Youth Service. Awesome. Yes. Awesome. Wow. That's... So the interview was more or less, we graduated from that university. First of all, that teaching hospital was there for us. Yes. You know, so just about a few days or so between graduation and when we started. When you started.
When you started, was there any challenge unique to being a Christian? And how did you overcome it? How did you live through that phase first?
Well, I don't think there was any challenge for me. Okay. I think the only challenge then was my first son came around that period of housemanship. Yes. Victor came around that period of housemanship. And the Christian background, I think, helped me because I was not lazy. So to say, in fact, I remember...
You are not.
I am not lazy. I remember one of the patients, because if you call me to come and see a patient, whether it's my own patient or not, I will just go there willingly and render. So one of the patients that we managed, I remember that at that time, In fact, they thought I was a consultant to the patient because I was always with them.
Yeah.
So, and when they ask for my room number, I will willingly give. So sometimes even when I'm not on call, they will go and call me and I'll come and do whatever is assigned to me to do. I remember when I started suffering, when people asked for my room, I tried to hide until, in fact, I remember one day, they brought a sack of Irish potato for me.
Yeah.
A patient that I think they were happy the way I was always with them, understand? So their father felt I was always coming to assist them. So they brought a bag of Irish potato for me. When they asked for my house, I refused. They kept on saying that it's their father that is. I said, what do you want to do? It was when they disclosed that they brought Irish potato.
You were thinking it was work or...
Yes. So when they brought, and I was actually broke that time.
Yeah.
When they brought the bag of Irish potato, I said, God, thank you.
Yeah.
Understand? And honestly speaking, throughout the period of housemanship and even beyond, I have received help from God in the sense that there are patients who, on their own, I remember there's one Reverend Father that gave me one big chicken like this. In fact, the meat, it was Eve of Christmas. He gave me a big chicken.
Was I there then?
No, I don't think you were born that time because the meat filled a bucket. How did I come in contact with this Reverend Father? He was sick, diabetic, and my mentor then, the Professor Chinedu Umariaro.
Yeah.
You understand? We call him the Pope. He mentored me. He was my supervising consultant at the accident emergency in Jos University Hospital. He wanted to do an amputation for him. There's something we call above knee amputation. The father said no. So I had to talk to him in a way that I say, Father, some people are born without limb.
Yes,
you came to this world with a limb.
Yeah.
And why would you allow this limb to take your life? So after talking to him, he said, in fact, I remember clearly, he said, you are not only a doctor, but you are a counselor. He admitted for us to do the amputation for him. Yeah. And but he said we shouldn't do it above knee. We went below knee. But of course, diabetes is a disease condition that if you don't handle it appropriately, it can progress. Right. So it kept on going until it claimed his life. Wow. You understand? So, and so many other, I don't know if you want me to expand on some of the things.
Well, I mean, I like that you said you've seen the help of God through your journey.
Sure.
I have tasted it, I've seen it, I've seen the beginning, the progression, at least from when I was born. I'm hearing your things now, but I've seen how God has raised you, literally, from the backside or from where you told us you came from, which is true, to where you actually are now, even as, you know, one who has retired, but not tired from civil service or from service or service to humanity. As we were talking, I then remember the story that you told us of Dr. Paul Enenche as your classmate then in school, all of that, and this is first-hand information because you've told us, you know, sometimes we were watching and you said this was your classmate and all. I just a bit of digression to say the Dr. Paul Enenche we are seeing now, what was it or who was he like in school?
Well, you know, everybody has his own path
trajectory. Yeah,
you understand.
Yes.
He was the church kind of type. You understand?
Yes.
Always talking about fellowship. So little did I wonder that both himself and the wife,
that's true,
committed themselves. Becky, his wife, was also my classmate.
Oh.
You understand? We were all in the same class.
Yeah.
And maybe you know, people tend to lean towards where they are calling.
Yes.
Both of them have put the stethoscope by the side. Not that
they are still licensed, they still renew their license.
But they are more into soul winning.
Yeah.
You understand? That is, and I think that started right from
school.
Medical school.
The reason I asked that is because we are talking about your story and specifically the Christian aspect, and that's one phase of Christianity in Nigeria right now that is strong. Yeah. And so I had to bring that up to say that you were in that space where they were not known, they were not popular. They were just medical students, but they had that seed. So maybe perhaps somebody is watching here and is in a field that, you know, you feel God is calling you to something. You know, these are experiences and testaments, and of course you yourself have lived successfully and greatly. Moving now to professional service, God has helped you. You've moved through the ranks from, I don't know how the hierarchy is in the medicine, doctors.
Yeah, there are two pathways. It's either you go through the postgraduate pathway and become a consultant, or you rise through the medical officer cadre and become a chief medical officer. You know, when I started as a casualty officer, meaning is a medical officer cadre, and I went through the exam. Initially, I had wanted to become a surgeon. I attempted the exam several times. I will fail. When I come back, I give testimony in the church that I went for this exam, although I have failed, but I thank God God...
I'll pause you here to talk about failure, because I knew some of those times we were in primary school, so that you just knew you were writing one exam and something around that. But you've reached the highest peak of medical practice anywhere in the world, right? Yes. So how did that season come for you? How did you go through it, God, as a Christian, really?
Yeah, I believe in one thing. Sometimes, in fact, I remember my late uncle would think whether they need to give money before you pass exam, and I told him no. I said, Uncle,
but were there people that did it? Are there people that found the way around it?
I doubt much.
It was a difficult thing to do.
I doubt much if
people had their way
were giving money or whatever for you to pass exam. No, I doubt. Okay, I don't understand. Yes. It's just that, you know, just like we talk about Dr. Paul Enenche, going into ministry, and some of us not along that line.
Yes, that's not your
I
place.
felt becoming a surgeon was not what was destined for me.
Yes.
Because I will tell you, when I graduated, several fields of medicine that I had wanted to, surgery was not part of it. Surgery was not part of it. How surgery came into it, Dr. Daniel Iya, who was the CMD then, and I was house officer under him. Every Thursday we have a presentation in the office. They will assign a topic. I'll be given anatomy and physiology of that topic to present. Then either the resident, the registrar, or the senior registrar will present the clinical aspect of whatever disease condition we're discussing. So anytime I present anatomy and physiology, all the people in the team will say, you'll be a good surgeon. So they kept on encouraging me. I wrote the primaries. I will go and fail. People that I know I was better than them are passing. In fact, at the point I had to ask my father then, my late dad, that I hope I've not offended you and maybe you are holding me to heart and I'm not passing exams. He said, no, he's not holding me to heart. So in 2001, I decided to do one, I decided to register for the two colleges. I registered surgery, West Africa. I registered family medicine, national. Went to Kaduna. In fact, it was that same period that my dad died. I was almost thinking of not going for the exams, but people encouraged me that you register for the exam, your dad is in the mortuary, go and write your exam and come back. Went to Kaduna. I didn't even know I had passed the exam. From there, I went to Ibadan to write the primaries and surgery. I didn't know I passed. It was after the exam. You know, from Ibadan, you go to Lagos before you take bus back to the north. So it was at the bus park. People went to the college, they call it Ijanikin in Lagos. They saw my name on the board that I have passed the exam. So they were congratulating me. So I was like, why are you congratulating? They said, are you pretending? Didn't you write the exam? So they said, oh, my name is there, I have passed. So even when I came back, I remember one professor, Uba, a pediatric surgeon, he said, the fact that you've passed...
that's just your place.
The fact that you have passed in family medicine doesn't mean that you cannot be a surgeon. Okay. Go and write again in surgery. You know what I told him? I said, the writing on the wall is clear. I don't think I'm called to be a surgeon. That was how I changed. But you know, mark you, all these years from 1995 to that 2001, I'm supposed to have been promoted as a medical officer, but there was no promotion. So I went to the admin to find out what's happening. So they told me that, well, there's no upper form in my file. By that time, I had actually written to the manager that I want to transfer from surgery to family medicine so that I can start my postgraduate training. So there was a delay. So it was, I don't know what happened. Probably when they saw that I had written that I want to move to surgery, or I need to be promoted, they now facilitated and now transferred me from surgery to family medicine in 2002. That was when I started the postgraduate training. And thank God for all the people we had as trainers. They did their best to inculcate in us discipline, you understand, and mentorship.
Yeah. Awesome. Wow, that's powerful story. Like,
because our head of department was an American. He's an American.
Yes.
Professor Tom Thatcher. He's now with Mayo Clinic in the US.
Awesome.
And so he was our head of department. And if you know what is called discipline, we normally start work around at 8 o'clock. So most times by 8 we have started work. Before we come to clinic or we go to the ward and do other things.
Awesome. That's very deep.
And incidentally, he happened to be my main supervisor at my postgraduate thesis.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So that's something to take away. I mean, regarding if you're in a phase where you seem to repeat over and over again certain things that you need to do. Maybe God speaking about certain things. Funny enough, today we're speaking at a wedding somewhere. We're talking about salaries of surgeons and family physicians, who is paid more, and I didn't know. I just realized that family physicians are usually paid more. The next,
not really being paid more, but you know,
say,
like I told you, my very bosom friend,
yes,
Dr. Ali Kidmas Tanko, who was a surgeon, who is I would say
a surgeon.
He had passed. He was African College of Surgeons, went to Glasgow and wrote the fellowship of the Royal College of Surgeons, passed the exam, and came back and relocated to Australia and became a family physician. He did the fellowship of the Royal College of General Practitioner of Australia. So he's practicing as a family physician in Australia. You understand? So because before the patient sees other specialists, he must pass through.
So you're in place of strategy. It's a strategic point. Thank you very much. I have another question. This is coming from the part where I knew a time in your life when somebody sent money to your account that you didn't know about, or you didn't know the source. I'm coming to corruption in the civil service space and how to handle it as a Christian. Have you faced it? Have you been tempted by it? Has it come at you? How do you navigate it and all of that? Then that first story, maybe you tie it to corruption and all of that.
Okay, I think maybe you've forgotten. But before that incident, I took my annual leave and came to Bauchi. That time it wasn't a teaching hospital yet; it was Bauchi State Specialist Hospital.
Okay.
So I came there, and usually what they pay you after working for 1 month is what is on your payslip. And I remember clearly that time, my payslip was a little bit over bloated by 98,000 naira because of an arrears that was paid that month. So before I started the work, I told them that if they are going to pay me, that my salary is shorter by that 98,000. So if they are going to pay me, they should pay me less by 98,000 naira, because that 98,000 is not part of my salary. It's arrears. Guess what? Well, after the work, when they were paying me, they paid me including 98,000 naira
again.
And I remember clearly the admin officer then, her name is so I told her, I said, Ahma, you are paying me this money with this 98,000. I told you that it's not part of my salary. She said, Nikita Katevi. I said, no. Nikita Katevi, I said, no. I said, I cannot, it's not part of my salary.
Your money.
You know, it was cash they paid me then.
Okay.
So they said, what are you going to do? I said, well, let me see the chief medical director so that I can refund the money. They said, okay, if it is refunding of the money, they can take the money and give me an official receipt that I was overpaid.
Yes.
Of course, I counted the money for them. They gave me the official receipt. Up to today, I still have that official receipt. But I never told the chief medical director that I was overpaid and I have refunded the money. That was the first time I refunded the money. The second time was when I was shortlisted to go to Mozambique for the technical aid corps. I think 2006. And I have done all the necessary documentation. The day I was to take off from Jos to Lagos, I started having the usual feeling, palpitations. You understand? And I told my wife, she said, if you are feeling, why not cancel this journey? So that night I decided I was not going to travel again for the technical aid corps. So the next morning I wrote a letter officially to the Directorate of Technical Aid Corps that expressing my
Uncle, you can't proceed.
Yes, expressing my disappointment for failing the Nigerian government as well as the receiving country, Mozambique. Because everybody knew that I was going to work for Nigeria in Mozambique for 3 years.
Yes.
I had gotten an official leave of absence. So, but because I changed my mind,
I remember that period. Me, I was even happy that it's like we are going to Mozambique. I didn't know Mozambique or which country.
So I changed my mind, but I had to write officially that I'm no longer going.
That talks about integrity.
Yes. And so when I wrote, you understand, 1 year after, I've already given them my bank statement.
Yeah.
So it is what they call onshore and offshore allowance.
Yeah.
I think the offshore allowance
is when you are.
Yes. So I think it was paid into my account. I was doing a posting in Gindiri that time. So I came to collect salary and I wrote my checkbook, went to the cashier and presented it. And now it struck me that my salary is not up to that amount of money.
But
so I went back to the cashier, please help me check my balance. He checked and he told me that it's my balance. But because my salary was not up to that, I had a mental picture of how much my salary. I tore that checkbook, put in the tore another one, and wrote what was my salary, collected it. So next month I came back, the money was still there. So I had to ask the bank, who paid this money?
Yes.
You understand? They were doing like this. I had to officially write to the manager that I want to know who paid the money. But when I left, and I remembered I had done documentation.
Yes.
So I think the bank wrote me officially that it was paid to me by the Director of Technical Aid Corps. You know what I did? I went to the bank, raised a bank draft in the name of the Director of Technical Aid Corps.
Back to.
I sent it by courier.
Yes.
To the Director of Technical Aid Corps.
Yes.
When the Director General, or what we call Chief Executive Officer, late Ambassador Mamman Daura, when he saw the draft I sent, he wrote me a commendation letter. He wrote me a recommendation letter that anytime I'm in Abuja, I should try and see him.
Yeah.
You understand? So he described me as a man of integrity and all those things.
Yes.
I didn't feel that I had that integrity. I was just doing it because I felt that money doesn't belong to me.
Yes.
You understand? So that was the second time I was returning money to government.
Yes.
You understand? Then, of course, where I worked, I mean, if, as a doctor, I had some responsibility too. I was the head of department, I was deputy head of clinical services in FMC. You understand? And if you dare try to cheat any patient, I mean,
it's not going to go well.
We are guided by what we call the civil service or public service rules.
Yes.
There are guidelines, how to punish people and all those things.
Yeah.
And I remember clearly, some people actually went on suspension because they were caught trying to cheat the system and all those things. It's not good, but you see, you must punish people in order to make sure that things move over. If you don't punish people, you continue with impunity and continue to steal money and continue to do all those things. And what I keep on telling younger colleagues is that, look, don't be in a hurry. This car you see us driving, we were not having cars before. But today we are driving cars. So just take your time. Tomorrow you own whatever you do. But some people are too much in a hurry. They want to make even, and in the process try to shortchange patients and all those things. So corruption has eaten deep into the fabric of our nation. But I think we need to encourage our younger ones that are coming up to make sure that this corruption is not going to lead us anywhere. It's actually not helping matters.
In the country,
you understand? God has blessed Nigeria so much that we don't need to suffer. We don't need to steal. You understand? It's just like diabetes. Starving in the midst of plenty. We have plenty in Nigeria, but we are suffering. And most of the time it's because of corruption.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So, seeing what you've said now, my mind is going to a question of how many of your type or of you have you experienced in the civil service society or spaces? I mean, people who have integrity, are they can you say there are a good number out there that you've seen or experienced? Do the numbers outweigh those that are not, I mean, really standing for integrity and
well, it's difficult for me to answer
the question.
Because number one,
I know myself,
but I can bet you that there are quite a number of good Nigerians.
Okay.
You know what Nigeria need is, if we have a lot of good laws in this country.
I mean,
you understand? It's implementation.
We're having a conversation now yesterday where exactly. I was seeing how Nigeria can work. Like the systems are so good. I was hearing things I didn't know existed.
So there are good Nigerians that I remember during, was it Buhari's regime when he was in military? There's something they call war against indiscipline. If you come, you must join the queue. All those things now. In those days, I remembered war against indiscipline. You cannot, as a young man, or even if you are an old man, you cannot stand on the street and say you are going to pee. No. If you are going to buy fuel, you queue. If you go to the bank, you queue. Nobody shuns. But you know, all those things, we experience them in this country. So if you implement, it's just like seatbelt now. You see people driving. Incidentally, I work on safety belt. That was my undergraduate project. Even before road safety began to enforce the use of safety belt, we did a study. It's a good project. We did a study on knowledge, attitude, and practice of drivers on the use of safety belt. If you enforce it, people will obey. But if you don't enforce it, people will not use it. You see, you'll be driving. You see a driver not on his seatbelt. When he cites road safety, he will quickly pull it and put it. By the time he passes, he will remove it. And anytime I see that, I'll say, it is for your own life. Myself like this, I was saved by seatbelt because I was driving and I entered a pothole. The car somersaulted. 3 of us were in the vehicle. 2 of us were on seatbelt. But the other person, one of my cousins, he was not on belt. He was flung out of the car and he had what we call clavicle fracture. But the 2 of us are in belt. The car somersaulted with us. Even a scrap we didn't have. You understand? So that is how important enforcement of the law. If, for instance, people know that the road safety are going to impound their vehicle and give them a paper, go to the bank, go and pay this amount of money, they will not do it.
That's true.
You understand? So in terms of number of how many people have integrity, that is difficult to answer, but I know there are.
If there is one, then there is.
Yes, there are.
Thank you, sir. So to conclude, what would be the advice you would give a young person, or not just young people, maybe different categories? What was the advice you would give people your age or your grade, young people in the professional and civil service space, from your experiences as a Christian, as a well-meaning Nigerian and civil servant? Well, generally,
first, you know, when anybody that is coming into a profession, you know, we have different professions. People don't really know their right from their left. I had made some mistakes as a house officer because I was not given some orientation. So people need orientation about their profession. I remember clearly, there's one of my mentees. He's a doctor now. He's a consultant ophthalmologist, Dr. Nathan Gandhi. I think I gave them a career talk when they were medical students, and I clearly told them that there are groups of people that can put you in trouble. Your family members, your friends, those that are close to you. Because you see, when you are at that formative stage of your career, I will give you an example because I'm a doctor. Somebody will come to you and say, I need sick leave. And in the actual sense, he's not sick. And you are under pressure to say, okay, you want to please this person. You just give him sick leave. Or a medical report that will cover him. Maybe he misses class or misses a test. And the teacher will say, go and get a medical report. You know what I used to tell people? I say, look, if you come as a young doctor, I'll give you orientation. Your signature has value. Why would you append your signature on a report that you know clearly this person did not go through.
Yes.
I mean, did not come to the hospital. You append your signature and you lie that he was sick. So if the young people do not have guidance by the older people, you understand, they'll be under pressure to say they are going to, I mean, to them they feel it's like help. You understand? Or your relation, you understand? How can you feel your relation? So your friends, your relations, those who are close, your church members, those are people that if you are not careful, they'll put you in trouble. If you don't know the person, if he comes, you bluntly tell him, look, you didn't come to the hospital because there's no record that you have come to the hospital. You understand? And I keep on even telling those lecturers, it is in your capacity to help that student. If the student genuinely tells you he misses class because of a reason, you should be the one to. You should be the one to tell him, okay, we'll make up your test for you, but not to tell him go and get a report when you knew he didn't go to. He was not sick. You understand? So people need to get all those things. And for those who have been in the system for a long time, we need to mentor the younger ones. You cannot mentor somebody if you too have not been mentored. You know, I've told you earlier on that we were, in the Christian perspective, we were mentored by the Navigators Ministry. I'll tell you, it's a Christian organization called Navigators Ministry, where we go through Bible studies, you understand? There's what we call that, and they used to call it TMS, Topical Memory System. You memorize verses in the scripture about salvation, about your assurance of salvation, and all those things. So anytime you are confronted with a situation, you just look at what verse that will help you to overcome that situation. You understand? So, but if you don't have that foundation, you'll not be able to also transfer that kind of knowledge to the other people. But by and large, I think people need to be guided. People need to be guided, and even those of us that are guided, because we went through the postgraduate program. You know what you learn at undergraduate. If you go to the postgraduate, it is different. It is different. You understand? If you graduate and you are working in general hospital, for instance, you are operating people. That is the basic knowledge you had at undergraduate. But when you go to the postgraduate, they will now dissect it for you. You discover that, oh, what you've been doing in that undergraduate is actually you are not doing the right thing. You understand? So there's need for people to update their knowledge. You understand? It's not easy actually when you graduate after 6 years plus X in medical school, then you go and do another 6 years plus before you become a consultant. You understand? Some even spend more than that, and you spend a lot of money. It's not easy. Understand? It's not easy.
Wow, thank you so much. I wish I had all the time to ask. I mean, that's the privilege of knowing you personally. I know those things and more, and I will ask more and learn more from you later on. But thank you for sparing this time to share these things with us on the channel. We appreciate you for accepting to share this, and I look forward to seeing you being at the peak of life generally. It's beyond civil service. I know, because we've had interactions aside about other things aside being a civil servant. Let me not say further, but I feel like if I will even do 1 year in civil service stuff, maybe.
Well, it's good to experience. It's good to experience civil service because, that is the engine room of the society. You understand? That's the engine room of the society. You understand? So, but I think the civil servants probably are not getting the best from the government. After putting in so many years service,
things go.
Like me now, I'm retired. I'm supposed to sit down, relax. But, we are going. Part of the reason why we've come for contract is because we want to make sure that, like the postgraduate we started in January, if we say we are not going to come and do it, it will collapse. I know some of our colleagues have japa to greener pastures. My friends have been calling me several times, come over to Australia. You understand? But I felt, initially I felt Nigeria is going to change for better. But the way it seems as if.
But at this point, if you say japa, will you or can you? Is it possible?
I told you the reason why I don't want to japa.
Okay.
You understand? I've started a program, and if midway I decide to say I'm going to japa, well, let me not say I may not japa.
Please, you will japa.
Because we don't know what will happen tomorrow.
You will japa.
You know the insecurity.
I will push you
Let
to
me tell
japa.
you, some of the reasons why some people japa
It's actually insecurity. Actually,
in fact, the major thing is
true.
although the naira
Part of it, of course.
understand. So, but for me, it's actually because of the passion I have to ensure that others also are also trained to be where we are. Everything is not all about money.
Yeah. If you have not subscribed at this point, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Drop your comments, and if you want us to have another part 2, or if you have other topics you want us to talk about on the channel, I will do all I can to get the people that are worthy to share on those topics that you are dropping. Sorry I caught you while saying that, but this Japa thing, some of us,
it's not all that glitter that is good. You see, let me tell you,
but check it first. Try and see if it's glittery. Try and see if it's glittery.
One of our colleagues, I think he was the MD of Nicer Garkija also in Abuja. He told us that, look, it's not all people that go to UK, all those places that will come and tell you to plain truth too. Some of them are really suffering, but they won't tell you.
But then they also do that, not suffering.
In Nigeria.
Maybe we should talk about it on that topic, maybe.
It's alright. In Nigeria, you can make all the money you want in Nigeria.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
But
and cleanly, not by means of corruption.
Of course not.
Yes.
Of course. It was by civil service that you trained all of us, and I mean, have done I know good things.
We got scholarship. You people did not go to collect any government scholarship. It's from that little salary.
Actually.
I know, you see, you know the reason why you went to the 2 Angels private school in Jos?
What was the reason?
You know, people were telling me, take you to Plateau Private. You know how much the school fees was in Plateau Private that time?
20 or 15K.
About 18,000. Meanwhile, in Little Angel, I was paying 6,000 for it. And you just walk from the house and enter the school. There was no school run for me. Do you know I've never done school run for people.
Okay, actually.
So you pay 18,000 naira, and when you are late to go and pick your child, they fine you. You understand? So
so that is why.
And you see the truth that sometimes, of course, when I come, I'll carry your books, I'll ask you questions, and I understand that, look, you're not doing badly in those little angels schools, you understand? But those Plateau Private, or people that go to
some of other schools, maybe it's grammar. When they speak grammar, it sounds maybe Polish grammar, but when it comes to writing, content will not be there. I mean, you'll be better off than them. Like the school where we went to primary school, if they tell you people like, oh, come from that place, you say no. That's true. You understand? But people in those days, who you are now. The schools are good. You understand? Those are teachers. They did their best actually to bring us to a standard. Wow, thank you so much, and we've come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you, sir, for your time. I really appreciate it. God bless you, sir. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so 3, 2. Why are you looking at me? Huh? Did you look at me? Okay, so I'm starting now. You can look at the camera first when we start talking now. You're looking this way. You're looking into this hole, not the screen. Hello. Wait. If I look into the screen, what's wrong with it? Nothing is wrong. It's just like it's showing. It may show that you're not looking at the camera. You look like you're looking somewhere else. So what's my problem about looking at the camera? There's no problem, but alright, so